Hello everyone. Today I wanted to tell you all how important recycling is and the enormous benefits of recycling. Did anybody ever want to make a big difference in an easy way? Recycling is the way to do that, and you can do it every single day. You can do it at home, you can do it at work, you can do it in your car, friends' houses, anywhere you go. You could see things that can be recycled and recycle them. Years ago, when I owned my own house, I started recycling, and it just became so easy. It made so much sense. I would separate garbage, and I would separate things that can be recycled. It does help having a recycling center close to you to be able to take it there and dispose of it easily. One time I came across a gentleman that I met, and we talked for hours about recycling. And he worked at a legitimate recycling center that would take the stuff, the aluminum, the plastic, the metal, the glass, and he told me exactly how it was reused or made to be reused. And the facts are just amazing. First of all, recycling saves a ton of money. It helps the environment, and one of the most important things, it creates new jobs. In fact, recycling is creating jobs still all over this country. And I've never been somebody that's been labeled a green person or that's all about the environment, but recycling just makes so much sense, and it's so sensible. Once I learned about recycling and what it does, I couldn't stop. And now it's become such a habit and something that I notice all the time throughout my living and working day. It all just makes sense. I've even helped with a presentation that that described how plastic is made and the benefits of plastic, how it's recycled, and how it's reused. It's pretty amazing. The key point here is recycling is so easy, and once you get into it, it just becomes easier and easier every single day. I wanted to go into what can be recycled. Well, almost everything on Earth can. And it's actually, I'm going to refer to a handout that I found online. It's from ecocycle.org. And it's very helpful for the first time recycler, or for somebody who doubts why recycling helps, or somebody who's just interested in learning more about it and seeing what it does. When I first started recycling, I just thought you could only recycle a couple things, and only a couple things actually made it, and it mostly went to a larger dumper to make energy. Well, that turns out to be all false. According to ecocycle.org, nearly 90% of what we throw away could potentially be recovered through reuse, recycling, or composting. Reuse or recycling. 90%. It's amazing. For instance, glass bottles become new glass bottles. Aluminum cans are turned back into aluminum cans, and here's something even more interesting. Aluminum can be recycled almost indefinitely, which means it can be recycled over and over and over. Steel is another thing that can be recycled over and over. Steel is another one. Plastic bottles. Plastic bottles can be recycled into carpet, clothing, auto parts, and new bottles. Interesting. And paper is another thing. I think you'll see a lot of newspaper recycling and regular paper recycling, and I'll get into that in just a second. But I wanted to first talk about the main thing that people think of when they think of recycling is aluminum and aluminum cans. Aluminum, like I said, could be recycled over and over again. What this means is that it saves on so much manufacturing. It doesn't eliminate jobs in that fashion, but it saves on manufacturing, the cost of manufacturing, the cost of mining and getting aluminum. And it eliminates all the waste. Instead of waste, it could be reused and made into new aluminum cans or whichever. Another good source for aluminum is aluminum.org. Goes into great detail into the aluminum remaking process. And actually, aluminum is one of the main things that I recycle too. What's important to know about recycling is that if it's not being recycled trash garbage is going into landfills. And landfills are, according to ecocycle.org again, landfills are the largest source of human-caused methane, a greenhouse gas 21 times more powerful than carbon dioxide. The EPA, which I'll mention later, admits that landfill liners will eventually leak into toxic lineage and garbage juice, or garbage juice is what they're talking about, into the ground and into the water systems, and so on and so on. And in other words, it's saying how dangerous landfills are. Recycling avoids that. It's just pretty much separating trash. I mentioned paper earlier. I wanted to talk about paper again. Paper, newspaper, mail, it could, first of all, like I said, I've never been an environmentalist, but it saves trees throughout, because paper could be recycled over and over to a certain point. A big website and a corporation that is really big on recycling paper, it's called keepvanderabeautiful.org. Keepvanderabeautiful.org. Shows a great description, pictures, easy to learn how to recycle through this. In fact, it's a really good site to go if you've never recycled before and you wanted to learn about it. It's great. Just an example about paper. I had this huge for projects from school. It's huge. They're like 35 pages each. Now I could just dump it. It would go into some landfill. Could always use it for a fire, but I could recycle it, and it's going to be used for newspaper or more paper eventually. In fact, you can see a lot of the paper nowadays. It's used from recycled paper, like newspaper, stuff like that. But it just makes sense. This is from keepvanderabeautiful.org. Paper recycling saves up to 70% of the energy needed to create paper from one new timber, meaning like woods. Energy is a huge gain from recycling as well. That's another benefit. Actually, I'll now show you some stuff that, just everyday things that you might not think. It's not just aluminum cans, not just glass bottles. Say you have your olive oil, cereal box, crackers, the box, recycle it, of course water bottles. This is that I just noticed, any type of plastic or anything. Air filters, air fresheners, made completely of plastic. When it's done, instead of just throwing it in the garbage, the whole thing can be recycled and reused as plastic. Same as pill jars, glass or plastic. Very, very beneficial. It all adds up and it all does something more than we even know. The EPA.gov is another great site about recycling education, and it has a lot of the basics. It's a great official reference that if you'd like to go to. Just one more thing about how recycling is easy, and I'll wrap it all up for you. The thing is, recycling doesn't, a lot of people use an excuse that it takes up way too much room, because you are having your garbage, regular garbage, and then you have recycling. Well, all I use is one tub in the kitchen or laundry room, that, and a bag for paper, and regular garbage. I actually take out my recycling more than I take out my garbage. Now, I don't let the garbage get ugly or anything, but the recycling builds up great because you find different things that you can recycle all the time. It's just really easy. As I said, just a quick review. Once you start recycling, it becomes such a daily habit. It's easy, it's sensible. Aluminum, plastic, steel, metal, rubber, glass, everything can be recycled. As I mentioned, it's such a huge benefit. In closing, recycling is a huge way of making a difference. It has so many benefits, and it's just constantly ongoing. At home, work, I find myself finding stuff at work still that would end up just in a large dumpster that just goes to a landfill, and I find myself putting them in the recycling. I hope this has been very helpful for everyone. I'm big on recycling. I'm constantly learning more about it. The money saved, the jobs created, it's a win-win situation. Thank you.